Am I the butthole for telling my wife that I'm ending our marriage because I found her brother at our house, again, and said it in front of him? I, M38, left my wife, Kelly F38, today. 5 years together. 4 married. I have battled her lack of boundaries about her family for the past 2 years. I understand that they are very close-knit, but she never paid attention to how their dynamics affected our relationship. I experienced every just no family situation. My food was eaten, showing up uninvited, meddling, you name it. 9 months ago, Mil and Fil began divorce proceedings. He cheated, fell madly in love with a side chick with whom he's lived for the past 15 years, and he decided that he wants to get remarried. He kicked everyone out of the house. It was an emergency, so I agreed to help out. I so fucking regret it. I had to take 4 people in, but they couldn't think to avoid constantly pissing me off. I got sick of finding them using our private bathroom. They had complete access to the other full bathroom by the hallway. Sil started taking naps on our bed, which is creepy because a bed is too personal. I came home late and we had to wake her up and still waited for her to snap out of her groggy state so that she could walk out. It lasted for 3 months, but the problems persisted. No matter how many times I told my wife and even told them, they still showed up at random hours. Even if I didn't run into them, I know she was allowing them to come over. I hated their presence. They would eat my snacks and get on my expensive recliner chair, which again, they didn't contribute a penny for. I had a mini orchard that they picked empty. Things got so tense that I blew at her in front of him. They left, we had a fight, and I ended up sleeping in a hotel. I warned her many times about being fed up and needing her to support me. She acted like I was demanding that she abandoned her family. Today, I came home to find her brother's car blocking the entrance. Not on the side and not even on the driveway, just right in the middle where my only option would be to get on the lawn. I go inside and he's laying with his shoes on the couch. He gave me this fresh smile like he's untouchable. I went to our bedroom and packed as much of my belongings as possible and ignored her pleas to talk. There's nothing else to talk about. I already called a few lawyers but haven't received any replies yet. She cried, but at this point, I have no empathy. I don't even know if I overreacted or if I needed to discuss this in private. I feel defeated and angry, and I also hate her family with my soul. They knew they were hurting our relationship and they didn't care. She knew that I'm a private person who hates being invaded. I helped them because I love her and I didn't have the balls to let them go to sleep in their car. We don't have kids, but there are so many things that will be left undone. I loved her so much, but I just can't do this. She called me immediately after I left and I told her that my decision is final. She sounded shaken, but I told her that right now, I despise her and will never be able to sleep next to her again. Sorry for any typos. I have a migraine right now. I'm just coming here because I just want to ask if leaving the way that I did was an asshole move, and maybe I should have announced my intention of ending our marriage after her brother was gone. Am I the butthole for embarrassing my stepmom at dinner after she tried to teach me a lesson about my real mom? I, 18F, live with my dad and my stepmom, 43F. My mom passed away when I was 10, and it's still a sensitive subject for me. My stepmom came into the picture a couple of years later, and while we're civil, we're definitely not close. She's always had this weird vibe, like she's trying to compete with my mom even though my mom isn't here. She gets snippy when I talk about her or wear anything that belonged to her, like my mom's old necklace I wear basically every day. Anyway, a few nights ago, we were out for dinner with my dad, stepmom, and her parents. Her mom asked about the necklace, and I said, it was my mom's. She gave it to me before she passed. I wear it every day. Stepmom immediately cut in with, well, technically I'm your mom now. I've done more mothering in the last 8 years than she did in 10. I swear the whole table went silent. I just laughed and said, if you think being a mom is about trying to erase the actual one, then yeah, you've been amazing. She looked like she'd been slapped. Her mom gasped. My dad told me to apologize, but I refused. I said I was tired of her acting like my mom never existed, and I wasn't going to play along anymore. Now my stepmom is barely speaking to me, and my dad says I need to be the bigger person because she's just trying to connect. But to me, that didn't feel like connection, that felt like erasure. Am I the butthole for calling her out in front of everyone? Am I the butthole for refusing to call my sister's baby by his full name? So, my 27M sister, 30F, recently had a baby, and she and her husband chose a very elaborate name for him. Think something like Maximilian Octavius Peregrine, not the actual name, but close in vibe. It's a mouthful, and while it's cool and unique, everyone in the family has naturally started calling him Max for short. Well, my sister is furious about this. She insists that he should always be addressed by his full name because they carefully curated it, and shortening it is disrespecting their vision. I thought she was joking at first, but she has actually started correcting people mid-conversation. Me, look at little Max. Her, it's Maximilian Octavius Peregrine, please. At first, I tried to humor her, but it's getting exhausting. I told her that while I respect her choice, nicknames are a natural thing, and I don't think it's fair to police how everyone speaks, especially when everyone is defaulting to Max anyway. She told me I was being dismissive and erasing her son's identity. Now she's making a big deal about how I refuse to honor her son's name, and apparently, she's even considering limiting contact between me and my nephew if I can't respect her wishes. My parents think she's overreacting, but some of her friends have sided with her, saying that parents deserve to have their child's name used as intended. So, am I the butthole for refusing to use my nephew's full name all the time? Am I the butthole for refusing to cover for a doctor who keeps stitching her patients? I, 34F, am a nurse practitioner in a large hospital. I work in the intensive care unit, where patients are in critical condition and every decision matters. One of the doctors on our team, Dr. Riley, 41F, has a bad habit of disappearing during her shifts. She will either go take a nap in the on-call room, take long coffee breaks, or just mysteriously vanish when things get intense. The problem? She expects me and the other nurses to cover for her. At first, I didn't say anything because she is a doctor and I didn't want to make waves. But it kept happening. One night, we had a code blue, meaning a patient was crashing, and I had to page her 3 times before she finally showed up half asleep, hair messy, clearly just woke up. By that time, we had already stabilized the patient without her. Last week, she asked me directly to cover for her while she left the hospital for a personal emergency. I later found out through social media that her emergency was drinks with friends. That was it for me, so when she asked me again a few days ago to handle things while she stepped out, I flat out said, "No, Dr. Riley, if you leave, I am reporting it." She looked shocked and tried to guilt trip me saying, "Wow, I thought we had a good working relationship. I always support you." And I just said patients come first and walked away. Well, she did leave and I reported her. Now, she is under investigation and she is furious. Some of the other nurses are saying I should have just kept quiet instead of potentially ruining her career. But honestly, I don't regret it. I am here to save lives, not cover for someone who doesn't take their job seriously. Am I the butthole? Am I the butthole for refusing to give up the extra bus seat I paid for to a mother and child? I recently had open gallbladder surgery, leaving me with a large incision on my upper right abdomen. Since I'm plus-sized and still healing, I booked 2 seats on a long-distance bus to ensure I had enough space and wouldn't be uncomfortable. When I boarded, I gave the conductor, ticket collector, both tickets and made it clear I paid for 2 seats. However, later in the trip, the bus picked up a mother and her child as chance passengers. The bus was already full, so the only available seat was the one I had paid for next to me. The mother tried to sit her child there, but I politely told her I had booked and paid for both seats. She got upset and asked, "Where are we supposed to sit then?" I told her to speak with the conductor. The conductor admitted he forgot I had booked 2 seats and offered to refund me for one so they could sit. I explained that I booked 2 seats for medical reasons, but the mother kept insisting, saying her child wouldn't bother me and that they couldn't stand the whole trip. At this point, other passengers started getting involved. One man condescendingly told me they'd cover the cost of my extra seat, so what's the problem? Another sarcastically said I should have taken an ambulance instead. The mother and some passengers kept saying, "But there's a child." Eventually, another man offered to stand for the rest of the trip so the mother and child could sit, but I felt like I was suddenly cast as the villain in a movie I never auditioned for, lol. Now that I'm home and resting, I keep replaying the situation in my head. Was I really the butthole? I planned ahead, paid for 2 seats, and had a legitimate medical reason. But the way everyone reacted is making me second-guess myself. Am I the butthole for telling my neighbor I dated her husband? I, 33F, became friendly with my neighbor, 37F, let's call her Emily, after I helped her move a few boxes into our building while her husband, 35M, was in the hospital. I didn't meet Emily's husband until a few weeks later when she invited me over to dinner as thanks. When I arrived first, Emily's husband had run out to pick up some wine, but when he came back I was shocked to see Matt, a guy I had gone on 3 dates with a year ago before he suddenly ghosted me. He had a terrible poker face and tried to pretend like he didn't recognize me. I don't play those games. I asked how long they had been married and Emily said 3 years. She recognized there was tension and asked if we knew each other. He said no. I said yes and told Emily that I had gone on dates with him a year ago. She became very upset and asked me to leave, which I did. The next day, Emily reached out and said that she didn't appreciate that I lied about when I dated her husband. He told her we had dated 4 years ago, before they were married. I didn't even live in this city 4 years ago. And even if we had dated 4 years ago, they had been engaged at that point. Either way, he would have been cheating. I sent her screenshots of our texts from the year before and from Bumble of his profile, which was still active. She never responded, but when I saw her in the lobby yesterday, she wouldn't even look me in the eye. I don't know if they're still together and Emily hasn't responded to my texts. So am I the butthole for telling her the truth?